Hey everyone, and welcome. So, if you've ever tried to learn Spanish, you've probably run into this one big question pretty fast. Which you are you supposed to use? It's one of the most common hurdles, but honestly, the answer is a really cool peek into the heart of the language. Let's dive in and solve this you dilemma once and for all.
So, which one is it going to be? Tú, usted, or vos? And believe me, this isn't just some boring grammar rule. Getting this right is your secret pass to sounding natural, being polite, and actually connecting with the people you're talking to.
Yeah, the word you pick says a lot. It signals respect, it shows you feel close to someone, and it can even tell people where you are or where you learned your Spanish. This is so much more than a pronoun. It's a social superpower.
All right, so let's kick things off with the one you probably saw on day one of Spanish class. This is tú, the friendly, familiar, and by far the most common informal you.
Okay, so the key things to remember here are singular and informal. You can think of tú as the, hey, we're on the same level you. It's your go-to for all those casual, one-on-one chats where everything feels comfortable and equal. So who exactly is in this tú circle? Well, this slide lays it out perfectly. You're going to use it with your friends, your family, your classmates, kids, and teenagers. Oh, and yep, even your pets. It's the language of being comfortable. And that really gets to the heart of it, right? When you use tú, you're basically saying, hey, we're equals, we're pals, no need for all that formal stuff. But, a little word of warning. If you use it with someone who expects formality, it can sound a little too casual, maybe even disrespectful. So if tú is for your buddies, what do you pull out when you need to show a bit of respect? Well, that brings us to our next you, usted. I like to think of this one as your secret weapon for politeness. The definition here is super straightforward. Usted is for formal, respectful situations, and it's also for talking to just one person. And you'll often see it shortened to ude, with a capital U. That's kind of your clue that things are a bit more formal. So who gets the usted treatment? Well, take a look. We're talking about older people, your boss, your doctor, or pretty much any stranger you meet on the street. It's the default choice when you want to show that professional or social respect. Exactly. Using usted creates what you might call a polite distance. It's not about being cold or unfriendly, not at all. It's just about being courteous. It's a way of saying, I acknowledge and respect you and your position. It's always the safest bet when you're not sure. All right, so you've got tú for friends and usted for showing respect. Feeling pretty good, right? You've got this down. Well, hold on, because here comes the plot twist, vos. So what on earth is vos? Honestly, the easiest way to think about it is this. It's basically a direct substitute for tú. In huge parts of the Spanish-speaking world, it's the word they use for all those same friendly, informal situations. It's not a different level of formality, it's just a different word for the exact same job. And geographically, this is a huge deal. We're talking about it being the absolute standard in places like Argentina and Uruguay, plus Paraguay and a big chunk of Central America. In these places, vos isn't just a quirky option, it's king. Okay, and this is super, super important. In a region where they use vos, using tú doesn't make you sound more correct, it just makes you sound like a foreigner. Vos is the natural, everyday way that people talk to their friends and family. To really fit in, you gotta use vos. Whew. Okay, I know, that was a lot of info. So how do you actually put it all together in a real conversation? Let's break it down with a super simple guide. This chart just makes it so easy. Let's walk through it. Situation 1, addressing your boss. No question, you're using usted for respect. Okay, talking to a close friend, that's going to be tú. Unless you're in a vos area, then you use that. Asking a random stranger for directions. Always start with usted to be polite. And if you're in Argentina talking to someone your age, it's vos, 100%. See? It's all about the context. Okay, so that's all for talking to one person. What about a whole group of people? Well, this is where things actually get a little easier, especially if you're focusing on Latin America. In Spain, they have a whole separate word for an informal you all, vosotros. But, and this is great news for learners, pretty much everywhere in Latin America, it's simple. You just use ustedes for every group. Your friends, your bosses, strangers, it doesn't matter. It's always ustedes. So after all of that, what's the one thing, the single most important piece of advice you can walk away with? Well, it really all boils down to one golden rule. Here it is. This is your game plan. First and most importantly, when in doubt, just start with usted. It is always, always safer to be a little too polite than a little too familiar. Second, just listen. Observe and mirror. If someone starts using tu or vos with you, that's your green light to use it right back. And finally, step 3, don't panic. Seriously, native speakers know this is tricky and they will totally appreciate that you're making the effort.
So, figuring out this you dilemma is such a huge step toward sounding more natural and respectful in Spanish. It's really a key that unlocks a much deeper level of communication. The only question left is, the next time you speak Spanish, which you are you going to be?